Good evening, it is Sunday, the 7th of May 2017, and welcome to the main news broadcast on TV1. Our top stories in the news. Minister of Justice Given Lubinda disassociates the government from any plans to pass the Law Societies Bill, as reported in some sections of the media. Former board of directors for the Post Newspapers Limited in liquidation challenged to justify why former owner of the newspaper company, Fred Membe, was allowed to draw a monthly salary of 1 million kwacha. Minister of Energy David Mavumba says the application by ZESCO to the Energy Regulation Board to increase electricity tariffs must not be politicized. And the Zambia Pediatric Association appealed to government to name the newly created UTH Children's Hospital after late Professor Chifumbe Chintu. With the news in detail, I'm Rafa Kumwenda, and our language sign interpreter this evening is Loveness Mbe. The details. Minister of Justice Given Lubinda has disassociated the government from any plans to pass the Law Societies Bill, as reported in some sections of the media. Mr. Lubinda says government is not part of any plans to come up with a proliferation of law societies. Speaking in Livingstone last evening when he graced the Law Association of Zambia Gala dinner, the minister said government will not interfere in the running of laws or engage in public debate on matters relating to the association. Details are in the following report.
The 2017 Law Association of Zambia Annual Law Conference and Annual General Meeting came to an end yesterday with a gala dinner held at the Avani Victoria Falls Resort in Livingstone. Minister of Justice Given Lubinda was guest of honor, dispelled media reports that the Patriotic Front, PF, and the government wants to come up with a proliferation of law societies.
I'd like to put on record that I dissociate the Patriotic Front. And also, as Minister of Justice, I want to dissociate the government from what I've been reading in the press, the maneuvers to come up with a proliferation of law societies.
Mr. Lubinda also challenged the Law Association of Zambia to quickly help improve the passing rate at the Zambia Institute of Advanced Legal Education, ZIALE.
Why is it that entrance to the bar is more difficult? You know that you need others to come and assist you in your law firms. And they can only come if you assist us in ensuring that the pass rate at ZIALE is improved.
The Justice Minister is disappointed by the silence from LAS on the need to give his opinion on some important national issues.
We asked a few months ago for submissions to the improvement of the Public Order Act. I did ask for submissions on the refinement of the 2016 Constitution. And I don't intend to embarrass you as an association, but I have not received from the legal brains of the country.
Earlier, last President Linda Kasonde said in the last 1 year, the association has gone through the most challenging time in its 43-year-old history.
This past year has seen LAS go through some of the most challenging trials in its history. We are now at a time where society is extremely polarized, and LAS has been a victim of the scourge.
Both the Minister of Justice and the LAS President are happy that the internal misunderstandings which the association faced in the past few weeks were amicably resolved during the conference and AGM. Elas Lungu, ZNBC News, Livingstone.
Former board of directors for the Post Newspapers Limited in liquidation have been challenged to justify why former owner of the newspaper company, Fred Membe, was allowed to draw a monthly salary of 1 million kwacha. This was from 2014 to the date when the company was put in liquidation by the High Court. Post Newspapers in Liquidation provisional liquidator Louis Mosho says the former board of directors must explain why this was the case when the company was owing several creditors and failing to honor its statutory obligations. Mr. Mosho says his office has to date failed to contact Mr. Membe for explanation as his whereabouts are still unknown. And the provisional liquidator says his office has completed preliminary review of the financial records for the Post Newspapers Limited in liquidation for the periods before the company was placed in liquidation. Mr. Mosho has revealed that the Post Newspapers Limited in liquidation used to keep two sets of financial records which were contradictory to each other and has yet to establish the motive behind the system. He has since called on all creditors to whom the company had at any time submitted its financial records for purposes of accessing any service, such as loans or tax matters, to submit such records to assist establish the motive behind such kind of financial record keeping. Mr. Mosho said this in a statement made available to ZNBC News in Lusaka today. Nakonde District Commissioner Fred Simwinga has reiterated his appeal to government to set up a weighbridge on the Nakonde-Mbala Road. Mr. Simwinga says after the commissioning of the road by President Edgar Lungu, a number of heavy loaded lorries from neighboring Tanzania are using it for export. He says if the weighbridge is not set up, the road will be destroyed, posing a risk to the traveling public. Mr. Simwinga was speaking in an interview with TV2 News in Nakonde. And Minister of Housing and Infrastructure Development, Ronald Chitotela, says government will construct a temporary toll plaza and a weighbridge on the Nakonde-Mbala Road. Mr. Chitotela says plans for the two projects have advanced.
Nakonde-Mbala Road has been completed and has since been commissioned by His Excellency the President of the Republic of Zambia. But there is something that we want government also to look into. That is to build a weighbridge along this road, because our neighboring country, the Tanzanian, have got a cement factory just 40 kilometers from here. And then they are exporting through that route, the Mbala-Nakonde Road, using very heavy loaded trucks to Lake Tanganyika. So it is that is what I want to request whoever is in charge to seriously look into that problem, because we don't want that road to be damaged very easily.
A private investor is set to invest $5 million to construct 153 housing units. Minister of Housing and Infrastructure Development, Ronald Chitotela, who officiated at the signing ceremony between Hawaii and Lamasat, says government will not relent in promoting a conducive environment that will foster investor confidence. Mr. Chitotela says government is working at improving and implementing key strategies that will promote development in the country. The minister said the construction of the 97 housing units in Lusaka's Lilai and 56 in Leopard's Hill area will create employment for the locals. And Minister of Commerce, Trade and Industry, Margaret Mwanakatwe, says her ministry is focused on bringing meaningful development into the country. And Lamasat chairperson Mohammed Ahmed says his firm will continue to ensure that its contribution to the country's development is enhanced. The duo also signed a memorandum of understanding with the Ministry of Health, where they donated 10 million kwacha for corporate social responsibility.
It is the firm belief of the PF government that this project will further create opportunities for linkages with local businesses for the supply of goods and services to the project, as we believe you subscribe to this very important cause. Therefore, I would like to appeal that this project should utilize the locally available construction materials and skilled labor as opposed to the importation of what can even be obtained locally.
And here we are today, looking at yet another invention of this family that seems to just keep going. And I want to say thank you for being an investor that is well-meaning, an investor that has longevity, in Zambia, an investor that is here to stay, and an investor that is willing to talk the language of government, which is diversification.
Elites will start with two developments, Elites Lilai and Elites Leopard's Hill, bringing a unique and all-embracing living experience offering to the Zambian market. Elites represent ultimate luxury lifestyle, modern homes built in an ambience of beautiful, complemented with multi-purpose courts, gyms, cafes, running tracks, concierge services, and amenity stores at your doorstep.
Minister of Energy David Mabomba says the application by ZESCO to the Energy Regulation Board to increase electricity tariffs must not be politicized. Mr. Mabomba says the proposed tariffs will help the power utility company to invest in electricity generation and help to power rural areas. He says at the moment ZESCO is unable to power rural areas where government has built schools, hospitals and other infrastructure which are running on generator sets. Mr. Mabomba was speaking this morning at the PF Interactive Forum in Lusaka.
And if you look in the region, Zambia is the only country whose tariff is the lowest. It's the lowest. Some of you, when ZESCO came to make a presentation, some of you, I can see my lady there, I think she was there, my gentleman here, you saw the graph ZESCO was trying to give in the region. Zambia, we are at almost 3 or I can say 4 cents per kilowatt hour. If you look at the countries in the SADC region, some of them they are at 7 cents, 8 cents, 9 cents, and 11 cents. And the question, colleagues, I ask is, if ZESCO are selling power at 3.3 cents per kilowatt hour, ZESCO needs to invest in generation, in transmission, in distribution. And if we have to attract the private sector, especially people in generation where you need huge amounts of money, and assumably you were an investor, and you have got 3 countries. Zambia is at 4 cents per kilowatt hour, country X is at 9 cents per kilowatt hour, country Y is at 11 cents. If it were you were an investor, where would you take your money?
Bahati Member of Parliament Harry Kalaba has advised parents to stop using poverty as an excuse to withdraw their girl children from school. Mr. Kalaba, who is Minister of Foreign Affairs, says parents should know that marrying off a girl child at a tender age is not a solution to getting them out of poverty. He was speaking during meetings he held with the local people in his constituency. Eleni Hambuva now reports.
She's only 11 and Hope Kabaso has already assumed responsibilities of running a home. Taking care of her siblings whilst her parents are in the field cultivating is part of Hope's responsibilities. But while Hope may be in school now, her prayer is for her parents to keep her there as she advances to secondary school. Many parents in rural parts of Zambia, however, opt to marry off their girl children at a tender age due to economic hardships. For them, marriage appears to be a solution out of poverty, but this has angered Chief Chisonka and Chief Chimese of Rapula Province. And Bahati Member of Parliament Harry Kalaba is aware of challenges that lead to parents marrying off their girl child at an early age.
Mwana kashi airingo kuchindika sana. Ile lo tulinge fine tuli mana mayo. Nombo tule jusha. Ya mlandu wene yosenda kumala pa utira mleke no kufya bana bwangu ati. Akaenda limi aba kuno kwa chofa. Aba anatekwe sho kupwa kufya ngo aba na kuma rasta bana mbone kuja kundo. Ni shumwana mamtwala fe mukupumwa.
A local NGO, however, is also in Rapula Province to sensitize families on the dangers of early child marriages and is also providing assistance to girls that have been reintegrated into school.
Uyu mulimo wakunja fo kulipilira omwana iskulu bushemu fie bandume tulino kwisambika to kumtwala ku police imwe muli batuntulu uli mulumendo na maka Uingalima awe. Uli mulumende na mako uingalima kufailo mwana aya ku school.
For now, Hope is hopeful that her parents will be inspired. And the fact that more schools are being constructed here in Bahati constituency to allow her to continue with school as opposed to marrying her off at a tender age.
Well, just now we take our first set of commercials. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Kasama Central Member of Parliament Kelvin Sampa has disclosed that the National Road Fund Agency has released 30 million kwacha to tie 11 kilometers of township roads in Kasama. Mr. Sampa says the contract has been awarded to China Geo. The Kasama Central lawmaker has told ZNBC News in an interview that the move is a demonstration of the PF government's dedication to fulfill the promises it made to the people of Kasama.
Has been released towards the working on the township roads of Kasama Central. And as you are aware that the government of His Excellency the President Mr. Edgar Chagwa Lungu has been looking at upgrading the city status of Kasama into a city. And this will only now tell us by virtue of all these program activities that are happening in Kasama, starting with the airport. I'm sure the nation would want to know that the upgrading of the airport, Kasama Airport, is ongoing. Money was also released towards this venture to ensure that the runway is tarred so as to allow big aeroplanes to land on this airport.
Copperbelt Minister Bowman Lusambo has expressed concern over the state of infrastructure at Mukuba Hotel and the trade fair grounds in Dola. The minister has noted that for a long time now, the two facilities have not received any major transformation. He made this observation during a meeting with the Zambia International Trade Fair Board at his office in Dola. Zanis has the report.
This prompted the provincial minister to call for a meeting with the Zambia International Trade Fair ZITF board to chart the way forward.
From the time I was a young man or a boy up to this time, I haven't seen any major transformation going on at Mukuba Hotel. And I wanted to know why. As government, we are encouraging the PPP. And I thought maybe through your consultation or your interaction, you may think of changing the face of Mukuba Hotel. The other thing is, I wanted to know your plans concerning the entire trade fair ground, the trade fair premises. What are your plans? You just want to be coming when it is trade fair time, you come, you do a bit of renovation to those buildings, off you go after the trade fair. But for government, we are saying the answer is no. We can do much better, actually.
Copperbelt Province Permanent Secretary, who is a member of the committee that has been put in place to look at the transformation of the two facilities, explains some of the challenges that have contributed to the current situation of the infrastructure at Mukuba Hotel.
The biggest problem, for instance, for Mukuba Hotel is that government institutions themselves have not been supportive of the Mukuba Hotel. Our intention is to promote and support our hotel, because if we do not give them business, even the plans for transformation in terms of infrastructure will be very difficult to realize.
Meanwhile, the Zambia International Trade Fair Board chairperson has indicated that plans are underway to transform the two facilities.
We have in place strategic plans to actually now transform the two institutions. As you may be aware, Minister, what is important, of course, is also to ensure that you actually have the right people in place to actually help with the transformation.
In the discussions that we've had, we have said, no, we need to transform this into a convention center that can have and host different types of expos. And as you know, with commerce trade industry, we also are in the region where there are a lot of events that come through our regional meetings, whether it's COMESA, SADC, and so on. So we are looking towards taking advantage of those and let them be hosted and using DOLA, the trade fair in particular, to host such events.
Ethel Chanda for Zanis in Dola.
Presidential Marketeers Empowerment Fund patron Chanda Kawe says his team is still studying the case for the Kamwala market fire incident to establish how much was lost. Mr. Kawe, who is also Central Province Permanent Secretary, says it is only after studying the matter that his team will know how many people qualify for soft loans. He says soft loans will only be given to those who lost their business capital and not those starting businesses. Mr. Kawe explained that there is a lot of demand for help from other marketeers who lost goods through fire-related incidences across the country. He was speaking to ZNBC News in a telephone interview. This was in response to PF Youth Chairperson Kennedy Kamba, who has appealed to the Office of Presidential Marketeers Empowerment Initiative to consider helping those who lost property through the fire that engulfed Kamwala Market recently.
Again, to appeal to His Excellency the President to look into the plight of the Kamwala traders, where we have a lot of marketeers and their merchandise were destroyed during that fire. And from the same, I think, amount you are going to raise as the youths, I'm going to propose to my National Youth Chairperson, who is Honorable Kampyongo, to see to it that we assist in our small way to our members of the public at Kamwala Market. They lost a lot of merchandise and a lot of money, and my appeal goes to the President through the presidential empowerment, marketeers empowerment, to see to it that our friends at Kamwala Market are helped in one way or the other.
Youths in the country implored to use the internet to make money and create business synergies. This and other stories coming up after this break. Welcome back, and now for the rest of the news. The Zambia Pediatric Association, ZPA, has appealed to government to name the newly created UTH Children's Hospital after late Professor Chifumbe Chintu. ZPA President John Musuku says Professor Chintu's heart was to serve and care for the children, and that there is no better way than naming the Children's Hospital after him. Dr. Musuku made the appeal during Zambia Medical Association's professional funeral in honor of Professor Chintu. And Minister of Health Chitalu Chilufya described Professor Chintu as a medical statesman who should be emulated by medical practitioners for the sake of serving humanity. Dr. Chilufya said government will ensure Professor Chintu's legacy is preserved and will make pronouncements in due time. Speaking earlier, Zambia Medical Association President Aaron Mujajati said the medical fraternity has lost an icon whose life will continue to live on through the many doctors he taught. He said Professor Chintu saved mankind with diligence and passion, an attribute that is important in medicine. Professor Chintu Aiti, a renowned pediatrician, oncologist and hematologist, died on Thursday night at the University Teaching Hospital after a short illness. He is survived by a wife, 3 children and 3 grandchildren, and will be put to rest tomorrow at Lusaka's Memorial Park. The Zambia National Service Commandant Lieutenant General Nathan Mulenga says citizens should guard Zambia as the only inheritance for current and future generations. Lieutenant General Mulenga says there is need to emulate the spirit of forefathers who sacrificed for the freedom, peace and unity being enjoyed today. Lieutenant General Mulenga has also called parents to instill discipline in their children so that they grow into responsible citizens. And General Mulenga says tolerance and love is key to fostering peace and unity in marriages and the nation as a whole. He was speaking when he officiated at a wedding for Lusaka-based accountant Chikwa Kasuba and computer scientist Malama Chileshe at Grand Hotel in Lusaka last evening.
A word of caution to all of us parents. This country is all we have and the only inheritance for our children. Our forefathers were not selfish. If anything, many paid in blood, just for our sake. Let us emulate them by investing well in our children. By this, I mean that we should love them, take care of their daily needs, and impart in them good manners. Academic education should never be an option. Culture must be core. Remember, a nation without culture is a dead nation. A country inherent of discipline, honesty, patriotism, dedication, and commitment is an epitome of prosperity.
To end the news, we recap on the top stories. Minister of Justice Given Lubinda disassociates the government from any plans to pass the Law Society's bill, as reported in some sections of the media. Former board of directors for the Post Newspapers Limited in liquidation challenged to justify why former owner of the newspaper company, Fred Membe, was allowed to draw a monthly salary of 1 million kwacha. Minister of Energy David Mavumba says the application by ZESCO to the Energy Regulation Board to increase electricity tariffs must not be politicized. Plus, the Zambia Pediatric Association appealed to government to name the newly created UTH Children's Hospital after late Professor Chifumbe Chintu. And that's all the news for this edition. Thank you so much for taking time to be with us. Otherwise, for more news, you can log on to www.znbc.co.zm. Our next news broadcast will be at 22 hours. I'm Rafa Kumwendo on behalf of the entire production crew. God bless you and bye for now.